Hello everyone, and welcome back to World of Warships Blitz with Terry, where today we are looking at a Spanish legendary commander. This has been provided. I don't know when, if or how this commander will be made available, but well, my first thought was, okay then, Spanish cruiser, Spanish legendary commander, makes sense, let's take a look at it. And we will be sailing the Tier 9, the dreadful Tier 9, to see if this commander makes it any better. First of all, who are we looking at? One Alvaro Cortés, by the looks of it, who apparently didn't exist, unless we're talking about a more modern soccer player. He appears to be wearing what seems to be like a slight fantasy rendition, but not too terrible, of a conquistador armor, so somewhere around 16th century probably, if I had to guess. And no, he does not look like a naval man. He doesn't look like a sailor or anything like that. Also, again, no historical person, not to be confused with Hernán Cortés, with an S, who was the famous conquistador, and aside from actually sailing across the ocean, didn't really have too much to do with it. You know, but obviously Spain is notoriously short of famous naval commanders. Spain never had any kind of navy to speak of that would never do things like challenge the British or for naval dominance. People like Alonso de Guzman, who were in charge of what was pompously called a Spanish Armada, but was more like a coastal defense fleet, really did not have any impact in naval history whatsoever. So there really wasn't a better choice, and really no way to pick up anybody from Spain's very drab naval history that could have been put in place here instead of an imaginary foot soldier who looks like he was involved in invading South America, slaughtering the natives, and bringing pestilence and potatoes. Anyway, it's what we've got to do with. Just in case you missed the sarcasm tags, I don't think my audience will, but just in case, please do look up the Spanish Armada and Alonso de Guzman. So, anyway, a quick refresher on what kind of ship skills we are having at Tier 9. We don't know about Tier 10 yet, but presumably it's going to be the same set. We have sonar, defensive AA, scout plane, and obviously the salvo fire thing, the burst fire. And that's what we want to reinforce. So, of course, the imaginary infantryman does not get any ship skills that appear to be in any way related to the... or any captain skills that seem to be in any way related to the ship skills that we have in the game. We do not get an improved defensive AA. Instead, we get the victorious charge, which isn't a terrible skill, but I will honestly, given that the AA on the ships isn't that great, it probably wouldn't have made much of a difference, but still, he also does not get an improved sonar skill or anything in that regard. He does, however, get the Daredevil on a cruiser that has basically battleship mobility. Instead of the Survivalist Plus, which would have made some semblance of sense because you would have actually been able to restore some hit points. He does get the Fully Prepared Plus, however, so you do get a faster cooldown on the repair kits, which is something at least. He does get the Adrenaline Rush Plus, which is an interesting choice, especially that we have what looks at the surface like something that may be purported at some point as an AA support cruiser. Instead, we don't get the Extinguisher, but we're sort of pushed towards getting the Adrenaline Rush, which is not a terrible choice. It gives us a faster base reload, given the relatively lengthy reload on the main guns. We do get the APCS Plus, which is a good choice. And we do get the Horizontal Protection Expert Plus. To be honest, in here, I don't think it makes a difference. In level 12, it probably maybe would have made more sense to get Giant Hunter, but given the performance of the guns so far, Citadel Plus wouldn't have made a huge difference either. So I think level 12 is quite. I would happily have given up the legendary slot in level 12 for something more useful, and I would have traded tier 5, the Daredevil, very much for Survivalist Plus. Yeah, and maybe get something that's a bit more related to the actual ship skills, like ditch the level 12 horizontal protection expert, and give him a skill that that reduces the cooldown after you've used the burst fire, something like that. That would have made sense, and that would have made sense to actually build towards. So as it stands, honestly, the only skill, heck, give him a Sixth Sense for please. In a cruiser that really doesn't like getting shot at, give him a Sixth Sense. Anything, like here in level 4, give him Sixth Sense instead of Victorious Charge. That's where it normally sits at the Unstoppable. So honestly, really the only skill here I'm interested in is the APCS Plus, to see if how this compensates for well, the somewhat lackluster performance of the shells on the Andalucía at tier 9. So let's give that a shot with a fully decked out Andalucía, which with a 12-point commander and APCS Plus. The first round sees us in Epicenter on chain against Friedrich der Große, Kansas, a Santander, a double black Shimanto. Yes, this thing I think is in the Blitz Pass. I will have to take a look at it. Yugumo and Black Lightning. I don't usually look at black ships all that much because they're generally, well, tech tree they're lazy premiums. They're repainted tech tree ships with a skill shuffle. Anyway, chain, and we're top tier. So, plenty of cruisers out there. And obviously Blitz Pass ships have the fortunate tendency that sometimes the players who actually sail them don't really know what to do with them because they haven't actually been grinding through the tech tree, they just bought the ship through the Blitz Pass. So we've got cruisers to feast on with our APCS Plus and with what is unfortunately I think the Drake's main guns, which are really not very good. Anyway, we'll be sailing towards the island over there. Because while I haven't looked at what these Blitz Pass ships actually are, they are Japanese, so they probably have torpedoes. And while I do have sonar, I am not in the world's most maneuverable heavy cruiser. And we do want some protection, at least from the big guns, and make ourselves a little scarce over here. So Kagero has no intention of getting into the capture circle. Takao goes on a equally aggressive course like I am. So if Takao takes the right, I will take the left. Move my nose into the middle ring. Okay, no, never mind. Takao is not that interested after all. Nope, nobody wants the flanks. Okay then. I will be here, bow in defensive, sonar up against any potentially predictive torpedoes because there are destroyers in the middle ring, and there is the Black Shimanto. So hello Mr. Black Shimanto. Salvo fire up because I am backing off behind the island, and yet there come the torpedoes. So I do want to see what we can do, and that is actually a lot more promising than what we've previously encountered with these guns. Now this is a fully broadsiding cruiser at 9 kilometers, but still that was not terrible. There's fire coming in from the right. But obviously now I have to suffer through the, let's see if we can finish him off and get double salvo out. And then we will actually change sides here. Another Citadel, nice. Black Lightning. I'll just drop some torpedoes in his general direction because I do now need to make myself a little scarce and reload my guns while I am drawing fire from everybody else. Lightning obviously has torpedoes away. I don't need sonar to figure that out. And is going to camp the island position. These might be the Lightning's torpedoes, not sure. There's also a Yugumo out there. Nope, these are the Lightning's torpedoes. Okay, he has sent them all in a single line, which isn't a terrible idea, given how many of us are here. And I have actually managed to take one. I switched to the high explosive because I am on APCS Plus against destroyers. So, okay, but Lightning smokes up, so back to the armor piercing. Although that said, the salvo wasn't terrible, the armor piercing salvo I've sent out. But we have a fully broadsiding light cruiser, this time at 12 kilometers. So shots out, and we're not going to be using the salvo fire or the burst fire just now. Just gonna try to actually get more DPS out. So in case you're not really aware of how this works, you're firing 2 salvos in rapid succession, but your actual DPS is lower. Oh, nice, another good one. Okay, I'm starting to like this. Your actual DPS is going to be lower, And yep, there come the inevitable torpedoes. That's why I'm already reversing. Then if you are firing, because of the extended reload after the double salvo goes out. So it makes sense to use it if you have ships that are on very low hit points, or if you are about to go behind an island. And that's another citadel. So I am against light cruisers that are fully broadsiding. That is a definite improvement about what we've seen last time, where I've literally been struggling to make anything happen against these things. Simply out of the fact that I couldn't just get the pens. So double salvo out at the Shimanto just to make sure that that thing is dead. And there is the lightning behind the island, so we'll be slowing down, dropping some torpedoes, and then try to finish off the Santander, maybe? Nah, lightning is more important, honestly, if I can get him. That's why you need to control the flanks, by the way, because then destroyers cannot camp that position. That said, we have we're 4 kills up, so this would be a very different story if, and yeah, lightning, you don't want to pop out there, but lightning's now getting overrun, so Takao can finish him off. Sonar up just in case spot anything for the lightning, and I have managed to hit something with a torpedo. Not sure what it was. Takao, that was pretty obvious, wasn't it? I'm even running the sonar for you and you're still running into it. Yeah, because there's still a Yugomo back there. But we have a Kansas which is now shooting at us, which is not a good thing. But fortunately he has way overshot. So I've still got the sonar running. I'm not too concerned about Yugomo. I'm more curious what we can do about the Kansas, to be honest. And I will get some torpedoes away at him and actually go in for a point-blank engagement with the armor piercing, because he's already on double fire. And Takao is firing high explosives, so HE, we're gonna go for the manual aim, double salvo out. Remember to keep it on target, and that's a citadel on a Kansas through the deck armor, albeit at point-blank range. So definitely not. Definitely not at long range, but that was actually not terrible. So, I mean, I have played with APCS, but the APCS Plus seems to be, at least when it comes to playing against cruisers or battleships at point-blank range, to be making a noticeable difference. I mean, we still haven't pulled an awful lot of damage out of it, just because the overall damage potential isn't really there on the ship due to the very slow reload. But this was already better than what we've seen last time. The second round is a tier 10 game, which you have to expect when you're playing tier 9, more often than not usually. And we are playing base capture on everybody's favorite map, Encounter. Against Colombo, Yama, Sovietsky Soyuz, double Zao, one of them black, one of them not so much, and a Fletcher as the only enemy destroyer. No carriers, so we cannot make our AA Felt, which will make the Des Moines, Takahashi, Puerto Rico on our side rather unhappy, because it's always a shame when you're coming out in these AA heavy ships and there's no carrier around. Anyway, we are spawning on our right flank, which means given the size and relative vulnerability of this ship and the fact that we are bottom tier, I am probably going to be camping that island there. Although Des Moines is likely going to go next to the island, so maybe I can stay behind it and just sort of do some second row firing, because this is not a frontline ship. This is too big, too sluggish, and too slow on the reload to be a frontline ship. You're better off giving the enemy something else to shoot at and just making yourself more useful in second line. So camping this island here gives me shots at whatever the Des Moines is going to spot, because we have nobody else who's spotting. And I can also switch sides if I need to relatively quickly. I am spotted, so there is something out there. That should be the enemy destroyer. So likely destroyer out here. Yep, there's the Fletcher. Hello, Mr. Fletcher. You're awfully brave. I mean, Fletcher can be excused not knowing what I can do, but that's a Des Moines Fletcher. What are you doing? All right, salvo fire up. Badunk, badunk. And that is an extremely dead Fletcher. I have no clue what he was trying to do here, but yeah, you do not push into a Des Moines like that. and me either. I mean, he wouldn't know what I can do, but that was a good start. We have a choice of targets, Sovietsky Soyuz or Yamato over there. Let's begin. While they are busy kicking the bot Takahashi to death, I am, or that actually that looks like it's aimed at me. Back off, back off, back off, back off. Island hitbox hither. Yeah, that, I don't want that. Okay, now we need to poke out behind the island again, but we've gonna detect it for now. I am sort of too far forward for my taste, but I want to see what these guns can do. And I'm still gonna aim deck, manual aim at Soyuz. And we'll see if we can let's drop some torpedoes. Give it a second to let him clear the island. I'm not sure if he is, but we'll change islands here and get out there, and then get a couple more shots into the Soyuz. The full pens that you're seeing there are in the stern section. So at range, you're not gonna necessarily hurt the deck too much of enemy cruisers, of enemy battleships, as you can see here. And it's probably better to aim weak spots, honestly. The left flank, okay, we've got a Zao out there actually, so I might actually have to help out on the left here, because that is a relatively we landed a torpedo, but sonar up. I think Zao probably dropped already, because he's got his torpedoes relatively far backwards. So I should be spotting them about now, and now they're just going to slow down and try to avoid the torpedoes. But oh, he's dropped pretty late actually. Okay, so I might actually, and it's a widespread, so I might take 2 maybe. That I could have done without, but 1, 2, yeah. Unfortunately, that means we had to back off into range of that Yamato, so let's get out of here. I don't have the rear angles to get a perfect shot off at the Zao, but he is now out of torpedoes. So double salvo out at the Zao, and then we're making ourselves scarce for now. So I'm just going to try and see if I can deal with him, because now we are just not. Would have needed a bit more. He is firing armor piercing at me, so he knows what he's doing. If you see a Japanese cruiser player firing armor piercing at you, and you're not in a battleship, then they do, and he has dodged the torpedoes. Then yep, he definitely knows what he's doing. Shot my rudder off. Another double salvo out to ensure that thing's dead, and then we will. Oh come on, really? Delaware's taken him. All good. But we have helped the Delaware somewhat, and now it's down to 3 enemy battleships and another cruiser somewhere. But I think we've got good map coverage. I don't think anyone got through to try and cap us with 3 minutes to go. Just don't know where that remaining cruiser is. But Colombo's dead. Well done, Puerto Rico. So scout plane up, and let's get into range of that Yamato over there and see if we can land a couple of shots on target here. I am aiming center to try and get my shots to hit the bow section, because I am too far away to hit stern from here. Stern's a bit larger, so it's usually a bit easier to hit. But if you aim at the central superstructure, you can normally get the shots onto the bow section quite reliably. And that's where you're doing the damage, really. So armor piercing at the bows at range is a good way to make that happen. Unfortunately, Yamato is backing up. And we're getting pretty reliable full pens here. So now it's just a matter of actually getting back into range of anything here. There's a Black Zao, which appears to be AFK, maybe? And he's already dead. So given that Yamato is about to go down, and that's the only thing I have in range, this is another good opportunity to use your salvo fire. We'll see if we can get him before the Shimakaze. Never mind, he's already dead. Okay. But so Puerto Rico takes the cake, and again we've been struggling to do more than 60,000 points of damage. So what's the impact of the APCS Plus on the Andalucía? It makes it, I would say, it pushes it from a terrible ship to an okay ship. The APCS by itself, not so much. It's still not a good ship. You're really going to struggle to do damage in this ship. But with APCS Plus, you actually are capable of punching light cruisers at decent ranges, and you get reliable full pens if you are aiming at bow stern, and at closer ranges you can actually deck Citadel enemy battleships as well. Plus, if you can get the torpedoes on target, you can get a bit more damage out of it. It's not a great ship, but with the Legendary Commander and the APCS Plus, it somewhat fixes the AP pen issues that these guns are having. That said, the Legendary Commander himself isn't great otherwise in terms of ship skills. I think they could have really done a better skill set here. So I think the APCS Plus itself probably warrants getting the Legendary Commander if you're planning to go down the Spanish cruiser line. We don't know yet what the tier 10 is like. We don't know yet what the tier 8 is like. So we don't know if it actually even makes sense. If the tier 10 is garbage, well, you wouldn't play the tier 9, so it wouldn't make a difference. On tier 7 and 8, probably still the APCS Plus would be good. But it's a less strong argument to getting a Legendary Commander if you're not planning to get all the way up. Anyway, we will find out more as time will tell, but that is it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.